Hey Jim, so I'm waiting on parts for the X5 repair, and I'm waiting on the right day to take all this lovely boat stuff out to the lake and try it out and finish that video upcoming soon. But today I'm going to get back into this 51 Oldsmobile. I'm going to replace its leaky valve cover gaskets. I just replaced these two old belts, and look at the difference between the two. They're supposed to be the same width. So I've already put some new ones in there, and I still have to do adjust the float level in the carburetor. But I might also beautify these valve covers a little bit because they look kind of rough. We are also going to lubricate the chassis. I got the bolts out. They were fairly long, and I think I'm going to disconnect this hose at both ends and pull it out. And when I put it back in, I think I'm going to use real regular hose clamps like that instead of these little spring thingies. Okay, popped off fairly easy. I had to use a little bit of pry bar action right here to get it started. But you can see part of the gasket is still on there. Part of it is still in the valve cover. So it's going to take me some time to clean all of this gasket stuff off carefully and not get any garbage in the engine here. So I think I'm going to go rig up my a shop vac where I can just very carefully work my way along and have it get vacuumed away immediately. So now I have degreased and pressure washed, and this one I haven't done any real prep on it yet. This one I've started to do some of the cleaning and prep, and I'm mostly using this Scotch-Brite, but occasionally I'm using a little bit of this emery cloth. And I'm going to clean them up real good, and then we're going to paint them. Okay, hit them with some primer. Okay, so now we've got our top coat on with the engine paint. And now I'm going to wait about half an hour or so and try something tricky out here. I'm going to see if I can use my honing block here. I folded this 400 sandpaper to where it's going to be nice and flat on the edge, and I'm hoping to be able to come along here and very carefully go across this lettering very lightly and sand off the blue and expose the yellow where the lettering is. We'll see if it'll work. It may not. We'll try. None of my little paint tricks really worked. The sanding thing didn't work, of course. So I ended up using a little one of those paint pen things you can get that you have to kind of push to get the paint flowing on the little fibrous tip. Anyway, the way I cleaned this off, as you can see, I inserted this is just like a drywall knife, but there's a nice little lip right there. So I insert that in place, and then it just stays there. And then I could come along and use a scraper or, one of these guys to chip off the old cork. And then I would just chip off a little area here, and it would all stay right here on my drywall knife, and then vacuum it off. I don't think anything got in the head. Next, I'm going to use a small amount of contact cement, and I'm going to glue this gasket to my valve cover. That's what the shop manual says to do here. There it is. Certainly better than it was. I think I need to do a linseed oil treatment to my firewall and some of this other dull stuff. But you'll see that I added some fake dirt and greasy smudges and a little bit of rustish. I wanted it to be more at home here in the engine compartment. And I think once I do a little linseed oil treatment on stuff like this, it'll all sort of suddenly have a bit of a shine. Let me try that. I mixed up a little bit of boiled linseed oil and turpentine, about half and half in here, and shook it real good so I know it was all mixed up, and then used it out of the spray bottle very judiciously. But you can certainly see the lovely difference from this side to this side. Oh, so I'm definitely going to do the same thing over here. Spray on, wipe off. Looks pretty good. That's amazing how easy that is. I need to still touch up the little bottom edge here. Nice. I received my boxes of Zerk fittings in case I need to do any replacements. So let's go ahead and pick her up and lubricate the chassis now. The owner's manual, or the shop manual for this car, recommends lubricating the chassis every 1,000 miles. So you can see I've cleaned this one off. There was a bunch of caked on, like this one still has it all caked on, this guy right here. So I cleaned it off a little bit, and then I attached my grease gun to that little nipple there. That's called the Zerk fitting. And then I squeezed grease into it until it oozed out the back here. And you can see over here, I've done so. And you're going to find them basically everywhere that has any of the suspension moving. So all of the steering stuff back here is going to have to be greased as well. There's also one right here on the U-joint. Yeah, there's the underside of my back seat floor that's crumbling. Yeah, gonna have to come in here and do something about that. And while we're lubricating everything, on this old 6-volt generator, you see this little deal right here with the spring-loaded cap? That you open up and you put some oil in there. And then there's another one on the back here, right under my finger there. That's another one that opens up, and then you fill it with some lightweight oil. I'm also going to lightly oil the door hinges and maybe the catches. Yeah, that feels like it could use a little oil. My hood release cable popped off a couple times. The little groove down on the bottom where this slides through, there was a groove, and there's supposed to be a little C-clip on it that holds it on, and that was kind of worn, so it wouldn't really stay on there. So what I did, you can see I put 2 of these washers, or they're actually the washer that you would use in a faucet If you had a dripping faucet, usually it's because a washer like that is crushed. So I went in here and just found a couple that had a hole in them that is smaller by quite a bit than my rod here, so it's a real tight fit, and I think they're going to hold and keep it all in good order. After